Chris Howe one time mentioned the fact, he said, Paul, I like it when you're angry, when you give an angry speech. Well, I'm disappointed. In this being a house of God, I am not pastor. I'm not ordained. But I'm going to deal in what I consider a confession and a need for confession tonight. It's time for the Republicans to admit that Republicans are responsible for our fall from the voters' graces. We have caused our own problems. Our leadership has been a problem. I'm not saying that there aren't people that do their jobs. I'm not saying that there aren't good people holding office. But what I am saying is we are responsible for our own errors, and we must become responsible enough to correct ourselves. We have based entire campaigns on domestic security while not bringing our economic message and economic results to the middle-class voter. I'm not talking about handouts. I'm not talking about special favors. But one time during the French Revolution, there was a woman named Marie Antoinette who supposedly said, in regard to the peasants, let them eat cake because they had no bread. We are sometimes out of touch in this party. Our cake is baked with national security issues. That's the recipe. With a little icing of social issues. Well, I'm all for national security, properly defined, and I'm very conservative when it comes to social issues, as I'm sure most of y'all are. But we need to look at the recipe for our cake. Studies show that middle-class wages have been slipping for decades, while our party has not done enough to stop the stripping of savings and paychecks through hidden inflation and hidden taxation. Our campaign needs a recipe adjustment before we ask folks to eat our cake. Many in our party champion things like corporate tax cuts, which I favor, but at the same time without any passion for taking on issues of taxation that directly affect most of us. We talk about tax cuts. While the many benefits of those cuts were passed into law, those very benefits are being eroded by the so-called alternative minimum tax, which we did not address on a permanent basis when we control both houses of Congress and the presidency. The alternative minimum tax is a tool of the sneak thief. My father's a retired Dallas cop. He told me a sneak thief is a person with no character who steals from you when your back is turned. My best guess is that no one is willing to address this on a permanent basis because in Congress, they want to leave the alternative minimum tax around. Oh yes, we've had temporary bridges, but they want to leave it around because they want to get you during a budget shortfall. They want to sneak up on you. At least Congress likes having it around. It can finance their port, their earmarks, and thus help the elected buy themselves more elections. Where were the advertisements depicting the sneaky, un-American outlaw tax that tears at any public confidence or any public view that there is equity in our system? In other words, we are sending a message that we don't even know how our system is supposed to work to the middle-class taxpayer. And this is only one issue. Did our party spend any money making sure the public was informed on the AMT as it's known? I didn't see any. Did you? Did anybody see any party advertisements on this issue? Too many in Washington like the AMT. They cynically patter on about increasing various credits and deductions. And in fairness, some of our own candidate holders don't understand taxation very well. While increasing numbers of us never see those benefits because of the sneak thief tax. If you're about to retire, you sell several rent houses, for instance, the accountants in here can tell you, you can get popped. You lose your deductions. So you lose the very deductions that the party works for, extols, and waves as a flag as something that we have